Okay, guys, you ready for some real talk? Because today I will be talking to you all about the most important piece of your business, more important than the technology you use, more important than making money, more important than any other business task that you possibly have out there. It's called social capital. And the reason I'm talking to you about that today is because a lot of times we are so focused on what technology we need to use to make more money, what type of ads we need to do to make more money, what type of things we need to do to make more money. And the most important thing is the one thing that sometimes we neglect, and that is creating more social capital, okay? Your social capital is truly the one piece of your organization that you can't do without. If you don't have people, then you don't have a business, right? So today I'm going to talk to you about 7 commandments of networking, and these are my 7 commandments of networking, like how you should approach them and why they're so important to doing your networking tasks. Now, I know that some of you are going to be like, oh my God, I have to talk to people and I don't even know these people. I don't want to talk to new people. Whatever you're saying to yourself, that's fine. But I do have 10 conversation starters that you can use that I use. I just use it on a daily basis. But these are good conversation starters for if you are going to a networking event, or if you just want to start talking to someone in a store or wherever you are. You can use these 10 conversation starters and you can download that link down below. So I'm really excited to get that out to you guys because I want to make sure that you don't have any excuses, because this is so important to do. Number 1 is all about being upfront, okay? Now, this is my way of doing networking. You do not have to do it this way, but I do feel like being upfront and asking people for exactly what you want is the best way to start networking with someone. People do realize if you're at a networking event, they realize that, okay, we're here, we're all trying to do something, we want to share our purpose, we want to share what we do and all of those types of things. But I do caution you on approaching networking in that specific way where you're going straight for the jugular, like what are you doing? And what do you do? And like what business do you work? I don't want you guys to do that. But when I say upfront and ask for exactly what you mean, I mean, tell them that you admire them and you would love to sit down for coffee, or that you read their last article and you loved when they talked about X, Y, and Z and you'd love to learn a little bit more about that, or that you something, like if you have any sort of connection to them and you know anything about them that you truly admire, or that you just want to learn a little bit more about. Like maybe you could say something like, I've never met you, but I've seen you around and I just want to learn a little bit more about who you are and what you're into and those types of things. Number 2 is all about focusing less on what they do and more about where their passions, interests, hobbies, all of those types of things, where those things lie. Forcing yourself to not be able to ask the question, what do you do? Because I'm telling you, that is a very safe place for most people. So the conversation will likely end up there on its own, but you don't have to be the person to take it there. I don't want any of my tribe to approach networking in that way. I do feel like it's kind of fake. It's kind of, it's safe. It's safe. And I think it's kind of fake. So I think that if you're going to start networking and you're going to try to do this, really focus on asking people like, so, hey, what do you do in your free time? Like, do you travel often? Are you someone who is outdoorsy? If you're like, we're in an outdoorsy area. And so sometimes I'll just ask people like, hey, are you pretty outdoorsy? Like, do you use the trails? What's your favorite trail here? Whatever, like go with the conversation. Try to read the person as you're looking at them to see kind of what they might be into and kind of try to go that direction. Trust me, if the conversation goes back to, what do you do? Good, it's a fail safe. You guys didn't have anything else to talk about. That's fine. But you don't want to start the conversation that way, and that's what I'm cautioning you. So start with their passions, their interests, their hobbies. Try to find out those things before you actually move into the what do you do thing. Number 3, make time to network, okay? I want you to schedule time in your daily task or your weekly task. If you don't have time, make time for these things, because this is building up your social capital. That social capital is the one that has the wallet, right? They're the ones that are going to pay you. They're the ones that want to know, if they're going to send you patients. They're the ones that's going to send you clients or customers or talk about your widget, whatever it is that you have. So make sure that you spend the time networking. Make sure that you use that time, whether it's online or off. Just make sure that you make some time to do either one of those. I do think offline networking is actually super beneficial. And actually HubSpot says that over 100% feel like it is one of the most important pieces of their business. And that they build the best relationships on those face-to-face networking. Especially if you're starting out, this is a great way to kind of like get used to adding this time in. Now, for me, when I'm networking and how I add it into my actual schedule is I schedule a time in my week. I use Fridays at 12:30 to schedule some sort of lunch. It could be with an old friend, it could be with a friend, it could be with a business, someone that is, starting a new business, or someone who I think could help Launchpad or the social life or whatever. And I just schedule a meeting with them at that time. And I know that way I can be very focused. I can be very 100% present. It's the last thing I do in my week. And generally you walk away from that feeling pretty energized and feeling like you've learned something new about someone, or you're making some sort of different connection. So really take that time and add that time into your schedule. It's really, really crucial and really important. And it's a way that it's just part of what you do. It's not necessarily always that you're looking for something from someone. It's just you're getting to know someone on a different and deeper level. So number 4 brings me to be a connector. Okay, the big thing about being a connector is that when you think of yourself as a connector instead of an asker or a needy person or someone who's always out there trying to network or whatever, when you think of yourself as a connector, you're looking at people in a totally different way. You're coming to them from the perspective of, how can I help you? Who do I know that you might need to know so that you can do what you need to do best, okay? And so this changes the whole dynamic of networking. You're just trying to basically connect people. And so if you think of it instead of networking, you think of it as connecting, which is how I do think of these things, then all of the little tasks that you're doing, all of the people that you're meeting are all for a reason. You're basically like putting it into a bank. And then when someone needs something that you know of, you can go right back into that little bank and you can say, oh, I think you need to use this one, or you need to talk to that person, and I'll connect you. So you always want to be the person that is connecting. It's super, super important, and you want to go into everything from that mindset. Number 5. Now, number 5 is pretty dang crucial for any business, for anything you're doing, and I had to learn this, but the follow-up. The follow-up is crucial, and it is key, and it is the most instrumental thing you can add into your business. So if you do nothing else from this video, I want you to start following up. You meet someone on the street, they seem interested in your business or in your purpose or anything you're doing, you follow up with them. Thank you so much for, the conversation today. I really had a great time talking to you about X, Y, and Z. I'd love to connect a little bit deeper on blah, blah, blah. It's very short, simple. It could be a text, it could be an email, it could be a face-to-face, it could be a note. It just depends on how well you know that person and the best mode of communication for that relationship. Number 6 is to be proactive. Now, when I'm talking about proactivity, I'm talking about you want to go out there and really think about, okay, what do I have that I personally can add? So now you're not looking from the connection part, you're looking from the perspective of, what is my worth and what is my value to a lot of other people? Who am I? What am I good at? What am I known for that I can help this person to do? So in my community, I'm known for knowing a lot of people, and so I look at myself as a connector, and that's why I tell you guys to change that mindset and look at yourself as a connector. Because once you start looking at yourself as that way and you start acting accordingly, then that is the image that people then also get of you as well. So you want to keep in mind that you are a connector. You want to be proactive before you go to the networking events, before you email someone, before you do anything. You really want to know, okay, I'm writing from the perspective, or I'm talking to this person from the perspective of, I can help this person too. I have something of value that they might need. I know my worth. And you always want to be coming from that perspective. Otherwise, you look at networking from a perspective of like, I hope this person talks to me. I hope they don't mind that I'm asking them a question. But when you stand on your own 2 feet, you're confident and you understand that you have something to offer too, even if they don't need it, but you do have something to offer and something of value, then it's much easier to strike up conversations, to interrupt a conversation, or to start one. So, you guys, there are lots of things that you can do to be proactive. But this is one of the key major ones, because that is truly a mindset, and it's a mindset shift that you have to make in order to feel comfortable starting new conversations and getting started with whatever it is that you want to strike up with someone. So be confident, be proactive, know your worth. Number 7 is value alignment. So value alignment is so important. When you're talking to someone, you should always be thinking about how your values align with them. I'm sure you do this and you don't even realize you already do it. But one of the things that I do all the time is when I'm talking to someone, you want to look at, okay, this person really agrees with these principles. Or, I love that person just said this about whatever, because that aligns with some of my core principles. Or that aligns with some of my values in my business as well. Or sounds like we're going the same direction in as far as they're going in their business or their hobbies or their children or whatever. You're just finding ways that you align with values. You naturally do this, and you may not even realize you do it, but I'm just bringing to the forefront so that when you go to network, you're going into this with it at the forefront of your mind that you want to align values. That's what you're looking for. When you guys tell your brain things like this, it really, your subconscious works amazingly to actually bring this to your conversations, to bring it to the forefront of your mind so that you're actually paying attention when you're present and you're mindful of what they're saying and how they're saying things, and you're looking at how does this align with me. And I'm telling you, you will find it. And it's extremely important because a lot of times we're talking and we're not completely present. We might be thinking about things that are going on at home. We might be thinking about your phone ringing or a text that just came through. But when you go through these 7 commandments of networking, you really do have to position yourself in a way that you are aligned both with yourself and with the person, along with what's happening in the event and why you're there and what the purpose is and what you plan to get out of it. So it really is just a big mindset shift when you look at how you're going to approach networking. So I want you guys to start thinking of yourselves as connectors. I want you to really focus on following up, and I want you to be proactive and look at how your values always align. Lastly, I want you to force yourself not to ask about the normal question, what do you do? So start with something a little bit different. If you don't know something a little bit different to start with, you can grab that top 10 conversation starters that I use, and you can use that download for yourself before you go to an event. So I hope you will go and check that out and download that. And if you aren't part of the tribe, change makers who are out there unleashing their something amazing while managing it all, I hope that you will go to ashleetate.com and grab your invitation there. So I hope to see you in there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week. Now get out there and unleash your something amazing. Bye guys.